Hi, I'm Linda with Wines, Pines, and Canines. Right behind me is our Rockwood GeoPro 19 FBS. Now this is a 20-foot couples camper, and as more and more people are getting into camping, these 20-foot campers are becoming more and more popular. But if you're like us, you probably first looked at one of these things and said, how on earth can I pack this with everything I need for a trip? Well, today I'm going to give you a few tips that I use to get everything packed efficiently, but I'm also going to show you our favorite storage modification to date. Well, it is finally springtime here in North Carolina. It has been a very wet winter, and consequently, we have not been able to get out on the road like we usually like. But our 30th anniversary is coming up here in a few weeks, and we are getting out rain or shine. So, in the next few weeks, please look for some updated travel videos. Plus, we're going to be starting our boondocking experiment. So if you'd like to see those, remember to like and subscribe. This guy always wants you to hit that notification bell. But today's video is going to be all about how I get the inside packed up and ready to go. Now this is a 20-foot camper, and packing everything into a 20-foot camper where you're not stumbling over everything can sometimes be a bit of a daunting task. Now, this is an ongoing learning experiment for me. But today I'm going to show you kind of some tips that I have for making sure that I don't forget anything and that everything kind of has its spot. And I'm going to show you our favorite storage modification to date, which is this cabinet under this TV. Now in next week's video, Troy is going to be showing you all about how he gets the outside packed up and ready to go. And we're going to be showing you the second half of our storage modifications in the kitchen, which is underneath the stovetop. So the first area, and really the one I think is the most important, at least for us, is the bathroom items. Reason is, some of these items I can't easily replace if I am on the road. Things like medications, my glasses or contacts. So if I forget them, it's going to cause a bit of a problem. So what I have done is, if you have watched our previous video, you'll know that I keep this little dresser inside of the bathroom that has these fabric drawers, and inside of each one are these plastic containers. Now, the one plastic container I take back and forth to the house of the items that we always bring with us. Now, to help me not forget anything, I have done 2 index cards, and I have taped them to the bottom of this container. One are the items that I always keep stocked in the camper in the medicine cabinet. And this just reminds me to make sure to check and make sure that these are fully stocked before a trip. The other one are the items that I always bring from the house. So I know before I leave in the morning to go on a trip, I can double check my list, make sure I have everything, and I don't forget. Okay, so the next zone I'm going to talk about is really our camera and electronics. Now, this is obviously not something that everybody is going to have on their trip, and this is really kind of that catch-all that is unique to each camper. So for us, we used to keep a lot of our pantry items up here in these cabinets, but as we've gotten more and more equipment that we take with us, we really had to repurpose that. That is that storage modification coming up here in just a little bit. But using these cabinets up here, they're kind of small. So I did find some containers that fit really well at the Container Store, and they're easy to take in and out and shuffle around. Now, these panels right here also come out fairly easily. I have seen people put baskets right here, and you can contact Forest River and buy a couple more of these doors. If you wanted to knock out the panels and put 2 more doors on, that would give you kind of full access without having to move things back and forth in here. So my third zone is this little guy right here. So we cannot forget any of his important things. So what I've done, and I found that the easiest thing to do with a lot of items inside this camper is just buy duplicates. So he has this drawer underneath the bed, and that's where we keep a second set of toys that are unique to the camper. We keep his collapsible water and food bowls, keep an extra leash, dog bags, things like that. That way I don't have to worry about packing and forgetting anything for him. The only thing that I pack for him are his food and his treats. Everything else is already in the camper. So let's talk clothes. Now everybody camps a little bit different, and we're kind of a hybrid camper. So we like to camp in the cooler months, so it usually means jeans and fleece pullovers. Now the fleece pullovers and coats we usually shove behind the couch because it's easy to grab them. But the rest of our clothes, I have bought these containers from the Container Store, and they match really well to the interior of the camper. But in this we will put jeans, rolled up t-shirts, things like that, and it's really easy to grab up here. But if you've watched our channel, you know that we do like to go to wineries and sometimes eat outside with the dog, so we like to have some hanging clothes with us. Now there is this cabinet under the TV that allows for hanging clothes, but that's all it allows for. And if you have, this is not your first camper and you've bought campers before, and you know one thing is true, and that is manufacturers just like to give you big open boxes and let you figure out your storage inside those areas. So we have figured out a way to kind of use this for both hanging clothes and for our kitchen items. So, okay, the kitchen. I have found, kind of like the dog, it is just easier to stock everything with a duplicate of what I use at home. And for me, the storage above the stovetop, again, it's just a big open space, and it's up to you to figure out what works best for you. Now for me, it is containers. So you can see here, I have, just everything in its particular container. The first one is kind of, measuring cups, spoons, my cheese grater, bowls, things like that. The second one is all about storage containers. The third, my Fasta pasta, I do love it. It's quick, it's easy. Put in the microwave, I am done. These last two are kind of my catch-all, just random things going in here. And this just keeps it from shifting and moving all over the place. And when I take one thing out, I can put it back in without everything falling down. Now, I do every spring kind of go through here and figure out the items that, I thought were maybe a great idea and that I just have never used. Go ahead and just take those out because I'm always, finding something new, and I want to make sure I have the room in case it becomes something that actually stays. The next thing are these ottomans. Now, we have talked about these in the prior videos, but I did want to show you the inside and how I kind of organize one of them, and that is with this wine box. Now, this wine box is great not only for bringing along wine, but also any kind of glass or breakable items. Things like I cook with olive oils, so I will put those in here, mugs, glasses, anything like that that you fear might get broken during the trip, I put inside this box, and I find that they have so far traveled very well. So I have found the best way to add storage in a small camper is by taking advantage of the vertical space. And I do that through a series of hooks and baskets that I purchased off of Amazon or Home Goods. Now with these, I do put them up with screws about a 3/4 inch length, and I do put some silicone in the screw and along the back of the basket just to kind of hold them up there a little bit better. We haven't had any problem with the screws, but I know a lot of people do put them up with command strips as well if they were uncomfortable, putting holes in the wall. So far, we have traveled thousands of miles with these baskets up. I don't keep anything in them when we travel, but they've held up just fine. Okay, let's talk the storage modification that I am most excited about, and that is under this TV. Now, I have always hated the fact that you could really only put hanging clothes in here, and it was just a wide open space. And I was so envious of seeing people online that put shelves in here and how much storage they got. But I wanted something that I could hang clothes and use the storage space for shelving. So I came up with kind of a convertible plan. And when I say that, you can, with the shelving that we're going to put in here, you can have all shelves, or you can have a combination of shelves and hanging clothes. So this is it beforehand, and this is it after. So let me walk you through kind of how we did it quickly. The sides, we started with taking a measurement. Now this is about 3 feet high, about 2.5 feet wide, and about 8 to 9 inches deep. But then we went to Home Depot and we bought 2 8-foot boards of primed 1x10. Troy then cut them down to the width that we needed on a table saw. And then we cut them to the length that we needed with our chop saw. Now we started with the sides, and the reason is this is not affixed in here at all. The shelves are going to hold this thing in so it doesn't move during travel, but nothing is screwed into anything. So we started with the sides, put them in, and we put shelf supports and shelf clips from Lowe's on here. Now, we could only find the 6-foot ones, so we did have to cut them down to go on these shelves. But if you could find 3-foot ones, it's going to be a lot easier. So once we had the shelves done, we put them in and measured side to side because we wanted a tight fit for the shelves. So once we put the bottom shelf in, you can see this kind of stands on its own. So at this point, you could, if you wanted to do just shelves, you could just make more shelves and put them in. But again, I wanted to be able to hang some hanging clothes. So we made 2 more shelves, but then I had Troy take a jigsaw and I cut out a space in the middle that would allow the hanging clothes and still have kind of the 2 shelves on the side. Now, a normal hanger is about 17 to 18 inches wide. I went onto Amazon again and found 15-inch wide hangers. So now that allows me to have about a 6-inch space on either side of the hanging clothes. Once I knew my measurements, I drew it out, had Troy trim it out with the jigsaw, and then just to kind of clean it up and make it look nice, we did use a router on the edges and then put some paint on here just to kind of make it look a little bit like it was built in. So this is what it looks like fully stocked with these Ikea containers, and these come in all different sizes, so you can kind of make this however you would like. And the ones on the bottom, I found these at Ikea, which I was so excited about. They are $3 for a pack of 2, and they just sit on this shelf. And then these Ikea 365 containers slide in to these, so they're almost like drawers. This under here now is going to give us so much storage. I truly believe almost all the food, dry foods that we take with us are going to be able to go in here. When I travel, I think I'm going to kind of stack everything really tight on this bottom shelf just to keep anything from moving. But I am very excited to see how this works out. Now, if you do have any questions on details on this, please reach out in the comment section below. If you do have the tools, it's fairly easy to do. Okay, so that pretty much finishes, how I pack out the inside. And everybody's a little bit different. For me, like I said, it comes down to identifying those zones, the 5 of them, and then figuring out the best way to pack those items, where to put them, and how not to forget them, which for me is like those note cards on the bottom of the plastic containers, buying duplicates, and, I do keep an Excel list at home too. And on that, I also keep things like a meal plan. Every time I go and something worked out really well, I will put that in my list, and it just makes it a little bit easier going in the future. So camping is all about, kind of finding what works for you. That is what I love in the 4 years that we have been camping. So I hope that you can use some of these tips. Once again, please reach out in the comment section if you have any concerns or questions. I will link in the description some of the products if they're still available that I've talked about in here. And we will see you in a week. Troy, like I said, is going to show you how he packs up the outside. We're going to show you the additional storage underneath the stovetop. And in a few weeks after that, we're going to have the first of our boondocking episodes.